Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we've got 3 new Pokemon V to be looking at, which should be the final Pokemon V which will be appearing in Astral Radiance, and quite frankly, these are worth getting a little bit excited about. We've got 2 with rather nice abilities, and 1 that can get paralysis every single turn, which sounds pretty good. So let's start off completely arbitrarily, having a look at Oranguru. I should give a shout out at this stage to the wonderful Antoine Boulet, who was kind enough to provide our translations, and who did the almost impossible thing this morning of actually doing a good April Fool's joke, which I genuinely thought was no longer possible. So just another reason why Antoine is one of our very favourites. So what do we have here in terms of Oranguru? Well, we've got 210 HP, which is, 220 is as high as we get, but 210 is fine. It's not hitting anything for weakness because you're colourless. It's weak to fighting, which actually is sneaky rubbish at the moment, because it means you're sharing a weakness with stuff like Arceus V Star, like Gengar V Max, which are seeing a huge amount of play, and you generally don't want to be sharing a weakness with Pokemon that have got a target on their back for pretty obvious reasons. But what we've got with Oranguru here is a rather lovely ability that says once during your turn, while this Pokemon is in the active, you can search your deck for 2 Pokemon tool cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. And it really is as simple as this. If you are relying on Pokemon tools, this is great. Absolutely flat out brilliant, inarguably great. If you're not relying on Pokemon tools, maybe not. You see, the thing is, the retreat cost of 2 here is actually really big, because speaking of Pokemon tools, we've got Air Balloon. So let's say you really need that extra 30 damage. You need to get that choice belt so you can do the extra 30 damage to go and get a key KO. What you can actually do here is use a switch to get this in the active, search out choice belt and Air Balloon using Oranguru, attach the Air Balloon, retreat, and then you're off and rolling. You don't have to go and get the Air Balloon, you could get something else, but my point here is that if you really want to get tools, this is great. And we've had a nice ability for searching out tools for a little while now. It's Greedent, it's a 1 from Rebel Clash, it's a stage 1 that lets you search your deck for a tool, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and nobody plays it. Like, nobody plays that Greedent, it just sees no play at all. So the fact of the matter is, that stage 1 Greedent that sits on your bench and gets 1 tool has proven not to be good enough. This being a basic that in the active gets 2 tools, maybe it will be good enough. Maybe it will. What I will say, however, is a lot of the time you'll really only be getting 1 tool because you will need to go and get the Air Balloon to retreat. But it's really very simple. In any deck that is reliant on tools, even if you only play them as a couple of, if you need to get your tools, this is a great option. The attack is not. Free colourless energy is nice because you can use any energy, acceleration, etc. But it's 30 damage base, plus 50 more for each energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. So to get towards that magic number of 220, you need your opponent to have 4 energy attached. And that's just not going to happen. You're a colourless Pokemon, which means you're hitting nothing for weakness. It's just not good enough. Sure, if they've got 3 energy attached, and you've got a choice bout, and like Oranguru, they've got 210, not 220, yeah, sure, you'll get them. But basically, look at all the top decks around in the format at the moment. This is just not getting any key KOs. If you're playing Oranguru, it's really simple. You're playing it because you want to go and get those tools, and actually, that is a very good reason to be playing it, so you know what? Hard to argue, ladies and gentlemen. Hard to argue. Let's give this between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. Also, just to be clear, I know it's April Fool's Day. I'm not doing any of that rubbish. On this channel, you're going to get proper translations of actual news. We're not doing any April Fool's rubbish, all right? Plus, it's near impossible to do well. Antoine has already done pretty much the perfect Pokemon TCG April Fools. Go and check that out on their Twitter at Twanley. And yeah, go from there. That's all good. So, Jirachi. Bearing in mind these are all Pokemon V, we've seen the whole set. These do not have V-Stars. They didn't give Jirachi a V-Star. How mean is that? Jirachi is the wish Pokemon, but come on, wish upon a star? Star-shaped Pokemon? It's basically the star Pokemon, and they gave it a Pokemon V without a Pokemon V star. I cannot be the only one that thinks this is a horrendous decision. Now, you get 180 HP, which is extremely low. You're down there with stuff like Crobat, so we're assuming this is going to be very much a support Pokemon. And it is very much a support Pokemon. You've got a pretty terrible attack, Psychic, Colorless Energy, 60 damage, both active Pokemon are now asleep. It's not much damage, you go asleep as well, and it's not a single energy. No, it's terrible, don't worry about it. But the ability says, whenever any of your basic Pokemon V are knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, you may move a basic energy from that Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. And this, in a Pokemon V deck, is phenomenal. Absolutely, flat out, inarguably phenomenal. It's basically EXP share, but it doesn't take your tool slot. Remember, you can only have one tool per Pokemon. Doesn't take your tool slot, and you don't have to have it on the right Pokemon. It's just always active. Now, it only works from a Pokemon V, but it goes to any Pokemon. EXP share, you've got to make sure that you've got the EXP share on the right Pokemon and all of that. It's awkward. This just moves it. My only hesitation with Jirachi V is how many V decks are there really around at the moment? And the answer is there are some. You know, Suicune decks are going to adore this. I'm not saying they're all going to play it, but I'm saying in a Suicune deck, it's a 2-energy attacker. So being able to move an energy from your KO'd Suicune to a bent Suicune, so you only need to attach a single energy to get going, yes, that is brilliant. But if we give a quick shout out to the lovely folks over at PokeStats just for a moment, best Twitter handle out there for following competitive Pokemon TCG results, and we look at all the stuff that's going on, and we take a look at the winning decks, you've got lots of Arceus V-Star, and you've got lots of Mew V-Max, and it's not all there, but a lot of them is. You know, certainly Galarian Moltres is going to love this, because Galarian Moltres can get one energy from the discard to itself per turn. So, again, you get a Galarian Moltres KO'd, energy goes on to Galarian Moltres, use the ability, attach for turn, you're off and rolling. That is amazing. If anyone's actually attacking with Genesect, this is amazing, because I've tried Genesect decks without Mew. I spent way too much time testing them. Won a lot of games, but essentially was just too inconsistent. Free energy is awkward. And you've got Metal Saucer and you've got Elisa's Sparkle, but it's still a little bit awkward. I often found I just needed one more energy. Jirachi will get me that one more energy. It's not going to work on Pokemon V-Star, and it's not going to work on Pokemon V-Max. And the reason, very simply, is it doesn't say from one of your Pokemon V. It says when any of your basic Pokemon V are knocked out, and that's a huge difference. You can still move energy to something like an Arceus V-Star. That's fine. But you've got to move it from your V that's getting KO'd. Basically, in any deck that is attacking with actual Pokemon V, not VMAX or V-Star, Jirachi is phenomenal. Suicune, Galarian Moltres, Genesect, they're just examples. Examples of attackers we might be seeing looking at recent tournament results. Make no mistake about it, any attacking V deck is going to absolutely adore this. It is just flat out phenomenal. Oh, Hisuian Sneasler. I really like Hisuian Sneasler. Not as a Pokemon, I despise it, it haunts my dreams. But as a V card, it's 2 energy, 80 damage for each special condition on the defending Pokemon. So being able to get that energy with Jirachi is actually really cool. Yes, I know we've got Dark Patch, but this is, you know, you don't have to draw into your Dark Patch. You don't have to have it at the right time. You don't have to get your energy in a discard, etc. I really, really like Jirachi. I'm giving it between 4 and 5 Wassies. You can't stop me. Also, we don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I don't think Jirachi is going to fit into every deck. I think the number of decks into which it will fit is actually quite small. But I think when it fits into those decks, it is phenomenal. And then we get to Luxray. Also, right, artwork-wise, let's just say this one is one of the better ones. Igawa and Pokemon V just go hand in hand, frankly. Also, gotta point out, very, very similar artistically to Lucario V. And I know that doesn't really narrow it down. We've had 3 of them, but I'm talking about the good Lucario V, the one that came around in Champion's Path. Shouldn't be a surprise, that is also an Igawa card, but man, I'm loving this. This looks cool. However, what is way more important, what does it actually do? Well, the first attack, 2 energy, 30 damage, your opponent reveals their hand, choose a trainer card you find there and discard it. Now, I don't think this is actually a particularly good attack, but some people have pointed out, and I noticed this as well, there are shenanigans that can be done. So I've told the story many times how I once won a game in a tournament by popping my Gabite active against my opponent's Hawlucha against a deck that I knew wasn't playing any switching cards because every Pokemon in their deck had free retreat. So Hawlucha is resistant to fighting, Gabite does 20 damage and stops them retreating, so I won game 1, and in game 2 I gusted Hawlucha active and I put Gabite active and I attacked with Sand Tomb, and I said to my opponent, if you want to play this game out, I am absolutely willing to do so, but I'm warning you now, we just played a whole game, I know you don't play switching cards, and I am going to Sand Tomb for the entire game, and also, do the maths, you're going to deck out before I do here, that's also very deliberate. And my opponent scooped, and we had a friendly game and a lovely chat, and they were a very nice person. Similar shenanigans can be done here. If you use double turbo energy, this attack only actually does 10 damage. And you can either put a second double turbo energy on there, or you can actually finally use something like Team Yell's Towel, which heals 50 from each active Pokemon, which is clearly ridiculous. And essentially you end up doing no damage. But while you're doing no damage, you are constantly getting trainer cards out of your opponent's hand, and if you can just keep stopping them doing anything, you can especially in the late game, you can basically shut them out the game. It's not actually going to work very often at all, but I do think it is worth noting that that is one use you could have for the attack. Far better is the second attack, because for free energy you do 120, discard 2, automatic paralysis. And what we have here is paralysis that can be streamed. It is hard to stream paralysis, because paralysis stops you attacking and retreating. It is not the kind of thing we want people to be able to stream very easily for fairly obvious reasons. But this is an example of one that can be streamed. I know. And that's essentially where we go here. That's what we're trying to do. And it can work. Now, you need to discard 2 energy, so you can attach 1 for turn, but then you need to find a way to get the second energy, and basically we're thinking Flaffy here. If Flaffy decks are good, or can be good, and remember Manaphy's back now, well, Manaphy's out, but it replaces, previous Pokemon that have done the same stuff, and Manaphy will protect your bench, protect your Flaffy. I'm not saying it's definitely going to work, but I'm saying it's got a much better chance than it's had in the past. And this is awesome, ladies and gentlemen, because essentially what you do is you attack, paralyze your opponent, and then you just get the energy back using Flaffy, and round we go. Realistically, you will probably have to be switching between 2 different Luxray, because Flaffy can only attach to the bench, but that can work, ladies and gentlemen. That can absolutely work. We've seen lots of really good lightning-type Pokemon coming around lately. Lots of Pokemon V that could end up being really good. I love this. Essentially, you're 2-hit KOing Pokemon V, and with Choice Bout, you are 2-hit KOing V-Star, and you are 3-hit KOing, pretty much however you look at it, you are 3-hit KOing Pokemon V Max. Because even with a Choice Bout, you're only up to 300, and that'll get a couple of them, but not enough to really make it relevant. But what you can essentially do here is make it so that even though you are 2-hit and occasionally 3-hit KOing, because your opponent isn't able to do anything in between, you essentially, you let them have an attack after you've gotten a KO. And I love that, ladies and gentlemen. I absolutely love it. I think this could be really good. I'm giving this 4 Wassies. I do think the energy is going to be a little bit awkward, and I'm still haunted by the Kyurem, which did basically this and never actually ended up being good as much as I desperately wanted it to be good. That was 3 energy, 110 discard 2 paralysis. It was basically the same attack on a single prizer, and it did 10 less damage. So I'm not saying this is going to be great, Kyurem never was, but I am telling you there's so much potential here it makes me a little bit excited. I think Jirachi is stunning in the right deck. I think Oranguru can have a whole bunch of decks go and get their tools, and I think Luxray has a lot of potential. I promised you 3 good Pokemon V in this video, and I like to think I delivered on this. I really do. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.